The fate of 48 Uyghur detainees in Thailand remains uncertain. The fate of 48 Uyghur detainees who have been held in Thailand for 11 years remained unclear on Thursday following a mysterious early morning motorcade and a subsequent flight reportedly landing in China. Fair Party MP Kanavi Subsing was the first to report the unusual movement, posting photos of covered window detention vans leaving the Immigration Detention Center in Soi Suan Phu, Bangkok, around 2 a.m. The vans entered the expressway with a police escort, blocking any attempts to follow or track their destination. At Danwing Airport, China Southern Airlines Flight CZ5245 from Kashgar, Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, landed late Wednesday night. At 4:48 a.m. on Thursday, the same plane, now Flight CZ5246, took off with an unspecified destination on Flight Radar 24. It was later recorded landing in Kashgar 6 hours later. In China, Xinhua News Agency reported that 40 Chinese citizens who had illegally entered Thailand after being deceived by criminal organizations had been repatriated. It was unclear whether this referred to the Uyghurs, whom Beijing has labeled as Muslim jihadists. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson dismissed concerns, accusing certain political forces of spreading falsehoods about Xinjiang to cause disruption. Political reactions in Thailand. At Parliament, Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra said she had not looked into the details but stated that any country handling such matters must follow laws, international procedures, and human rights principles. MP Kanavi urged the Prime Minister to clarify the situation, stressing that the Uyghurs must not be sent back to face persecution. National Police Chief Kitharath Punpech declined to discuss the reports, citing national security. There cannot be an immediate answer because it concerns security. Details may be available after a certain period, he stated before entering a police commission meeting. Reporters were ordered to stay outside. A source at the Immigration Bureau confirmed that the Uyghurs had been moved from the Soi Suan Phu detention facility between Wednesday night and Thursday morning. However, detention officers were unaware of their destination. The three possible scenarios were: they were relocated to another detention center to reduce overcrowding. They were sent to a third country. They were deported to China. MP Rangzaman Rome, chairman of the House Committee on National Security, Border Affairs, and National Reform, demanded clarity. The government should be brave enough to handle this issue and communicate clearly. I can only pray that it is not true, he wrote on X. He warned that if the government had sent them back to China, it would have major consequences not only for Thailand but also for its international reputation, particularly in human rights. He also noted that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had previously expressed concern over the Uyghurs in Thailand and that their deportation could seriously strain U.S.-Thai relations. Human rights concerns. Under international law, people cannot be returned to a country where they face torture, forced disappearance, or persecution. Rights groups accuse Beijing of widespread human rights violations against the Uyghurs, a 10 million-strong Muslim minority in Xinjiang. Beijing denies these allegations. Human Rights Watch stated that Thailand, as a new UN Human Rights Council member, must protect refugees and should not send them to countries where they could face harm. The Soi Suan Phu Immigration Detention Center has housed Uyghur detainees for nearly 11 years. Reports emerged in January that the Uyghur men feared deportation to China. A decade ago, Thailand became a major transit route for Uyghurs fleeing repression in China and trying to reach Turkey, which historically supports Uyghur asylum seekers. Most of the detainees were part of a larger group of 350 Uyghurs arrested near the Malaysia border in March 2014. In July 2015, around 170 women and children were sent to Turkey, while a week later, 109 mostly male detainees were deported to China. Their fate remains unknown. The remaining Uyghurs were kept in detention in Thailand. At least a dozen have escaped, and 5 have died in detention, including 2 children. Legal complications. 5 detainees are serving prison sentences for a 2020 escape attempt, while 43 remain detained without charge in cramped, sweltering conditions, with no contact with their families or legal representation. Under Thai law, their detention falls under national security, which means they are under the National Security Council, NSC, rather than immigration authorities. This classification prevents them from accessing Thailand's national screening mechanism, which allows refugees to live in the country and access services. Despite criticism, Police General Kittharath defended Thailand's treatment of the detainees, claiming that if conditions were inhumane, media reports would have surfaced long ago. Opposition files censure motion against Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra. The opposition filed a censure motion on Thursday targeting only Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, accusing her of lacking leadership, qualifications, and economic knowledge, and being influenced by her father, former PM Thaksin Shinawatra. Opposition leader Nathapong Roengpanewat said that Thailand's GDP growth is the slowest in Southeast Asia, proving Paetongtarn's economic failure. The debate, scheduled for March 24, will include questions about Thaksin, despite warnings from some few Thai figures that the opposition should focus only on current government members. Nathapong stated that Paetongtarn is solely responsible for the government's failures and that censuring individual ministers was pointless since all problems stem from the Prime Minister's leadership. He also noted that Thailand's coalition government is fragile due to parties with conflicting ideologies, leading to dysfunctional governance. Parliament President Wan Mohammed Noor Matha confirmed the debate would begin on March 24, though the final duration is still under discussion. King grants royal patronage to bus crash victims in Prachin, Buri. His Majesty the King has granted royal patronage to 30 injured passengers from a tragic tour bus crash in Prachin, Buri, where 19 people died. The bus was one of 3 transporting 129 people from Buang Khan to Rayong for a study tour when the driver lost control on a downhill section of Highway 304, overturning the vehicle. The bus driver, who held a Class 4 license for dangerous goods transport, had only taken over an hour before the crash. The bus was last recorded at 58 km per hour, which was too fast for a steep descent, said Kairut Visalakitra, Director General of the Department of Land Transport. The driver tested negative for alcohol and drugs but was charged with reckless driving causing deaths and injuries. Meanwhile, funerals for the 19 victims began in Buang Khan on Thursday.